been a year since Rafa Nadal retired at the Davis Cup last year, when he played with Spain, of course, in Alcaraz, and they ended up going down to the Netherlands, but he's back on court for the first time. He hasn't been playing any tennis, and he's practicing with a very popular player. Let's go have a listen to what both Nadal and Eala had to say about the practice session. This is what Rafa had to say over on Twitter. 1 year later, it felt great to be back on the tennis court. It was a great practice with you, Eala. Next time, I will be stronger. And you can see there, if you click the link down below, you can watch the video of them practice.
Everyone assumed Rafa Nadal Academy was a finishing ground for champions, not a launch pad for bold reinventions. But now Eala has arrived just before the Italian Open, and it doesn't feel random. This looks strategic. What adjustments is she making in silence? What edge is she sharpening away from the spotlight? One thing is clear, someone on tour is about to be caught completely off guard.
Filipino tennis ace Eala had another special moment at the Rafa Nadal Academy, this time with the legend himself, Rafael Nadal. In an Instagram post, Nadal shared his experience of spending time with young and talented players at his academy, including Eala.
The timing feels anything but accidental, especially in tennis, where every move matters. Just when many expected Eala to pause after a grueling European run, she resurfaced at the Rafa Nadal Academy. In an instant, the story flipped from rest to quiet transformation.
Over on Instagram, through the Rafa Nadal Academy, said a truly unique day at the Academy. Eala on court with Rafa Nadal 1 year after his last match at the Davis Cup. Incredible to see him back on court, sharing his passion and knowledge. And there's a photo of the two as well. So there you have it, Rafa Nadal finally back on a tennis court. Of course, he's retired now and he's not planning to come back or do anything like that, so I don't think we should get too excited, but it's great to see him actually getting to practice. And he's practiced with Eala. Of course, she's been at the Rafa Academy for so long, and she's...
One moment, Eala was stepping away from the chaos of Madrid. The next, she was deep inside the relentless system of the Rafa Nadal Academy, gearing up for the Italian Open, where every flaw gets exposed.
I met Rafa. I was on the way to his academy. Oh my gosh, I was on the way to his academy because I was gonna try it out before we committed. I was just gonna try it out for a week, and then we ran into him in the airport, in the Madrid airport, and it's kind of embarrassing to say, we kind of ran after him. Like, not ran after, but we were fanning, fangirling, and then we told him, oh, we're going to your academy, and...
The Rafa Nadal Academy didn't exactly keep it quiet either. A low-key Instagram post surfaced, nothing flashy, no hype, just a routine glimpse. But that subtle update spoke volumes. Without saying much, it signaled something bigger to those paying close attention.
We're excited because every year I would see who was the celebrity guest or who was the guest speaker at each graduation. And I remember there was Roger, I think Paul Gasol was there 1 year, and I was so excited when it was Iga, because she had just come off a slam win or something.
Yeah, I think the French Open was the week before, because Rafa just lost to Novak, I remember.
Yeah, I remember, and no, it was super happy, and I think Iga told me that I remember that she said she'll see me around on tour.
When a player heads back to a place like the Rafa Nadal Academy just days before a major clay event, it is never casual. It signals intent fine-tuning, recalibrating, or even rebuilding key parts of their game. And that is exactly why Eala's move is drawing attention right now. Her recent stretch has been anything but steady. At the Madrid Open, she exited earlier than expected in singles, falling in the round of 64, while managing a more respectable run to the round of 16 in doubles. On paper, it looks like a typical week. But tennis rarely tells the truth through results alone. Madrid, with its high altitude and faster clay, can distort rhythm and timing, turning even small lapses into costly mistakes. By stepping away from competition, Eala has created a crucial window, one focused not on headlines, but on detail. This is the phase where footwork gets refined, shot selection becomes sharper, and mental patterns are reset. The kind of work that rarely trends, yet often decides tight matches. Now, all eyes shift to the Italian Open. Rome presents a completely different challenge. The clay is heavier, slower, and far more demanding. Points stretch longer, patience becomes essential, and any technical flaw is quickly exposed. It is not a place to find form, it is a place that demands it from the very first ball.
Both on the court and in their studies, encouraging them as they take on new challenges in their careers. Nadal also wished the young tennis stars luck on the WTA Tour as they continue to climb the ranks. Eala graduated from the Rafael Nadal Academy back in 2023, where she was a full scholar for 5 years. Last month, the Filipino tennis player soared to her new career best WTA ranking of 137. Eala is now chasing her goal of making a Grand Slam main draw this year.
So the question naturally follows, what exactly is she refining in Mallorca? Because returning to the Rafa Nadal Academy is never about casual practice. That environment is built on a clear philosophy, discipline, repetition, and an unshakable commitment to fundamentals. It reflects the legacy of Rafael Nadal, who dominated clay not with flair alone, but with precision, resilience, and mental toughness. For Eala, this setting offers more than just world-class facilities, it offers a reset. It is where technique is sharpened down to the smallest detail, where movement is refined until it becomes second nature, and where the mental side of the game is trained just as rigorously as the physical. This is not just about short-term wins. It is about building a game that travels across surfaces, conditions, and high-pressure moments. Clay, especially, demands patience and tactical awareness that cannot be rushed. And her recent schedule reflects that learning curve. Tournaments like the Linz Open, the Stuttgart Open, and the Madrid Open each bring unique challenges, whether it is indoor speed, hard-court rhythm, or altitude-affected clay. Adapting between them without losing rhythm is one of tennis's toughest skills. That is why a focused training block, timed right, can be more valuable than another early exit on tour.
You know, being in Mallorca, it was my fourth time actually, and fifth in Mallorca, but fourth in the academy. And I really used this time well to practice and get some inspiration from Rafa. You know, he was able to be on 2 practices with me, and I'm really grateful for that, because honestly, I didn't expect that he's gonna have time. And yeah, he gave me some of his insights, described some experiences that he had, and it was really amazing to, be on the court with your idol.
The Instagram story from the Rafa Nadal Academy may have seemed routine, but for those who follow the game closely, it carried deeper meaning. It felt less like a casual update and more like a quiet statement. Eala is not simply reacting to recent results, she is thinking ahead, prioritizing preparation over panic and structure over impulse. That approach is often the foundation of lasting success. Still, there is a layer of mystery surrounding this move that makes it even more compelling. Training sessions remain behind closed doors, and whatever adjustments she is making will only become clear when she steps onto the court in Rome. Is she refining technical details, or focusing on the mental endurance that clay demands? Most likely, it is a combination of both. What heightens the intrigue is the timing within the clay season. The Italian Open is not just another stop, it is a critical checkpoint. It serves as both a testing ground and a launchpad for bigger challenges ahead. A strong performance builds momentum, while a setback invites scrutiny. That is why her decision matters. It shows awareness of the stakes. This is not about chasing quick wins or headlines. It is about showing up fully prepared. And in professional tennis, that difference often decides everything.
Yeah, so it's really fun to see them both getting together and having a bit of a hit, but what does this mean for Rafa? Do you reckon he might play an exhibition next year? Maybe he'll come back and do a little bit of tennis. Maybe he'll go to some of the Grand Slams and play some of those invitationals that they do with the legends of old. But it's really fun to see Rafa on court again, hitting some balls, and really fun to see Eala get to play against Rafa as well, which is really interesting to see.
There is a quiet symbolism in choosing to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy, a place that represents far more than courts and drills. It represents a standard of excellence on clay. For Eala, returning there at this stage of the season signals intent, not routine. It connects her to a philosophy built on discipline, repetition, and long-term development rather than short bursts of form. As the Italian Open approaches, attention will shift back to results, draws, and rankings, as it always does. But the deeper story often lives outside the spotlight, in the training blocks where adjustments are made in silence. These are the moments that rarely appear in highlights but often shape what follows on court. Her decision to step back into that environment suggests a focus on building something more stable and complete, rather than chasing immediate outcomes. When she eventually competes in Rome, the real question will not only be about opponents or results, but about what has evolved during this quiet stretch of preparation. And it all circles back to a simple Instagram update from the Academy, subtle, almost understated, yet revealing for those who read beyond the surface. No dramatic framing was needed, because the message was already clear. Work is happening where it matters most, away from the noise.
Since I was young, I was like, my idea of when I was gonna grow old is that, or be older, is that I was gonna be a professional tennis player. And growing up, like, that was my only vision in life. And, you know, over the years, my passion for that only grew, and it was backed up, luckily, by my result.
Now the only question is whether that silence is hiding a breakthrough in the making or a warning for those who thought they had Eala fully figured out. In tennis, the unsettling truth is that real breakthroughs rarely arrive with warning. They tend to surface suddenly, often after a stretch of average results where it looks like nothing is changing when in reality, everything is being stored, refined, and rebuilt in the background. That is the kind of phase she appears to be entering, especially with her return to the Rafa Nadal Academy. Unlike standard training blocks that simply maintain form, this environment is known for reshaping it entirely. Details are not overlooked, small technical flaws are repeated, corrected, and eliminated until they no longer exist. The contrast with the tour makes this even more striking. 1 week, players are adjusting to the fast, high-altitude conditions of the Madrid Open, where timing can feel unpredictable. The next, they arrive at the Italian Open, where slower clay demands patience, endurance, and long, grinding rallies. Constantly shifting between these extremes creates subtle instability, and that instability often reveals itself at the worst possible moments: break points, tight games, and tiebreaks. It is in that fine margin that preparation either holds firm or collapses.
Special for me. Obviously, training with Rafa is something that people and young kids can only dream about. So it was such a pleasure to share the court with him. He gave me some tips on my forehand and a few other like small advices. This is the first time I've ever hit with him in my life, and it's just a memory that will last forever.
When Eala steps away from competition and chooses structured training over constant match play, she is effectively choosing control over unpredictability. It is a path that rarely delivers instant results, but when it clicks, it shows up in subtle yet decisive ways. Rallies stretch longer, yet she stays composed. Defensive shots gain enough depth to neutralize pressure instead of absorbing it. Even her serve evolves not just about power, but precision, designed to construct points rather than finish them quickly. This is where clay court tennis becomes especially revealing. It does not just slow the game down, it exposes habits. Every rally is extended just enough to reveal whether a player panics under pressure or trusts their structure. On this surface, hesitation is amplified and patterns are impossible to hide. That raises a deeper question about what she is building right now. Her path so far has shown flashes of high-level potential matches where movement looks fluid, shot selection sharp, and composure intact in tight moments. But there have also been periods where control slips slightly, not dramatically, but enough to change outcomes in close contests. That thin margin between brilliance and inconsistency is often where careers are defined. And training at the Rafa Nadal Academy suggests a clear intention, not quick corrections, but permanent fixes. The goal is not just improvement, it is stability that holds under pressure, across surfaces, and deep into the grind of the tour.
With the same mentality as every match, same mentality as today, she's a big player. So I have to be ready for what she's gonna bring out and trust that I will prepare well.
Yeah. Pero you haven't, you've beaten her before, so that's really gonna help boost your confidence na kahit defending championship dito, world number 2, kaya mo mag-repeat, di ba? Pero every game na is different.
Yeah, I would say every game is different. And just because I beat her last time, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna beat her this time.
Rafael Nadal's clay court identity was never built on sudden bursts of dominance, but on sustained pressure constructed point after point until opponents eventually cracked. If even part of that philosophy filters into Eala's development, it could reshape how she handles the most fragile moments in matches. That is why something as simple as a training clip can feel more meaningful than an entire match result. It often signals where the real work is happening away from applause, rankings, and public reaction. In that context, her decision to skip the Catalonia Open starts to look less like a step back and more like a calculated pause. Rather than chasing immediate ranking points, she appears to be prioritizing readiness for higher-level competition. It is a trade-off that delays short-term gains but reflects long-term intent. Practice environments offer control, repetition, correction, and structure. Matches, on the other hand, introduce chaos, different playing styles, shifting momentum, crowd influence, and pressure situations that cannot be fully recreated in training. That uncertainty is what makes her next appearance so closely watched. The real evaluation will not just be the result, but the texture of her game under stress. Does she build points with greater patience? Does she recover more effectively when dragged wide on clay? Does her serve maintain stability in extended service games? These small indicators often reveal whether a training block has truly reshaped a player or simply maintained them.
Show you something that's trending on social media. How about this? You couldn't get close to court 6 yesterday. Eala playing over there. This was a wild scene, Martina.
Well, Lindsay was trying to get there. A lot of people, I mean, it's amazing that people were so nicely standing in line, but they would be there for at least an hour if they ever got to the match. So kudos to the fans. The players have no idea this is happening. So
every tournament acts as a measuring stick. Every defeat becomes data. Every small improvement is expected to show itself immediately through results. In that constant cycle, development can easily be distorted if the pressure is not carefully managed. That is where a return to the Rafa Nadal Academy takes on greater meaning for Eala. It offers something rare in professional tennis. A controlled environment where progress is the only priority, removed from rankings, narratives, and outside noise. It is a space designed for repetition, correction, and clarity. In that context, improvement stops being reactive and becomes intentional. Tennis, after all, is rarely a straight line upward. Some of the most important changes happen quietly, away from cameras and scoreboards, long before they appear in match statistics. As the Italian Open approaches, all of these elements begin to connect: the training choices, the timing, and even the understated signals shared online. Together, they form a broader picture that goes beyond a single event or result. What emerges is a more layered narrative, not just preparation for one tournament, but a possible turning point in how her season develops. And as Rome's clay courts prepare to test every part of her game, the real question shifts. It is no longer about effort, it is about whether the work done in silence is ready to reveal itself where everything becomes visible.